evening. Well, it's good to be back to CloudFest stage after some time. It's a great event, great parties, great people. Thank you for people making this happen. So, I'm Pasha Ershow from Acronis. Today I will talk about cyber protection and what does it mean. Actually, it feels great, sometimes awkward, but most of times great to be in the industry that creates meanings and new words. And today I hope I will be able to explain to you what cyber protection means, but also what a word SAPAS means. Because that's probably, you thought about tapas, but it's not like that. And I would like to start with Acronis Mission. As the physical world becomes more and more digital, so more data, more information is being digitized. And also that creates additional exposure for all of us, for our businesses, and we are becoming vulnerable in the digital world. We in Acronis believe that everybody, every person, every organization deserves a complete and integrated cyber protection. And we are committed to delivering software, to delivering services that will enable complete cyber protection for any data, for any application, any system. This is something that guides our company, guides how we develop software and how we work with our partners. I don't think that anyone will argue that modern data threats is probably the most serious challenge in the IT industry nowadays. Just think about that, almost 30% of organizations will be attacked, successfully attacked, within the next couple of years. And as the amount of data and information, including sensitive data, which is digitized, is growing, there are constantly growing concerns about privacy from people, from individuals, from businesses. That is followed by regulators, governments imposing quite strict legislative and other restrictions that can actually impact cloud service providers pretty badly. One of the recent examples, $57 million fine because of GDPR. And modern security-related threats to data, including ransomware and unapproved access and modification of the data, is becoming more and more visible and more impactful. And it's obvious why it is happening, because again, more and more data is becoming digitized. But the costs are growing, and currently 3 recent ransomware attacks resulted in a loss of more than $300 million, which is huge, of course. By the end of the year, another number that shocked me while I was preparing this presentation, by the end of this year, every 14 seconds on this planet, an organization, a business will be attacked by ransomware. So this is about concerns. How do we address that as an industry? And we at Acronis believe that in order to fight these threats, the new generation of data protection should converge with cybersecurity. And we call this convergence cyber protection. And this concept is based on 5 key pillars, or how we call them 5 vectors of cyber protection. That's safety, accessibility, privacy, authenticity, and security. And let me give you a little bit more background on how we think about these 5 vectors of cyber protection. Let's start with safety. In the digital world, good thing about digital world that you can create a copy of your data almost without spending any energy or any time. It's very difficult to create copies of what you have in physical world, but in digital world it's easy. So basically, if you are afraid to lose any data, what you do now, you create a copy. It's better to create multiple copies, as we know. You can create even hundreds of copies and feel safe. On the slide, you see a poster of a movie. Has anyone watched that movie? Raised? It's a good movie, okay-ish, but it basically demonstrates what can happen while digital and physical worlds collide if your data is completely erased, and what is happening to you. Good illustration of what we call desire of safety. Next pillar is accessibility. Of course, we want our data to be accessible whenever we travel, whenever we are, and this is a core requirement of modern age to have data accessible anytime. So while we think about cyber protection, we also need to think that the data should be available at any time. Privacy. Of course, the ability to control who has access to your information, who has access to your systems, is something that is required nowadays in any IT solution. And in physical world, it's probably not that easy, but it's much easier to get privacy. Because in physical world, you can play with distance or walls or whatever. I'm now probably in privacy if I think about my friends that are in Singapore. So they can't see me, they can't hear me, and I'm kind of private. However, the information on my device, which is with me and is now connected, yeah, it's connected to the internet, is somehow maybe not private, because people from London, people from Shanghai, people from California can get access to the information on my device. So how do I ensure the privacy? And a nice movie or series to illustrate that, Sneaky Pete, basically about some criminals exploiting, getting private information about people and fulfilling their evil goals. The fourth one, authenticity. So in digital world, as I said and we all know, it's very easy to make copies. So likely you're making multiple copies of your data. Remember to feel safe. And the question is, are you sure that when you need to restore your data from a copy, it's actually authentic to what you have copied some time ago? Imagine a malicious attack on a government system, not with purpose to steal data or destroy data, but with a purpose to change some data points or some records in the database just for future use. And that's a serious threat, especially nowadays. And of course, when you control number of copies that you have, you need to make sure that the data is authentic. And in some industries, it's basically a regulatory requirement to keep track of that. Last but not the least, security. We all need security in the physical world. We all need security in digital world. And as, again, two worlds are combined nowadays, it's, of course, what we need to have. We need to have protection. So, 5 vectors of cyber protection: safety, accessibility, privacy, authenticity, and security. Now I hope you understand how word SAPAS, what SAPAS means. And what's interesting about all these vectors that they somehow contradict each other. And thinking about your cyber protection strategy or cyber protection strategies for your customers, you actually need to make trade-offs. Let me give you a couple of examples. For example, you can make multiple or hundreds of copies of your data, and you'll probably feel very safe. You will store them everywhere on any media and any location. But of course, privacy would be jeopardized, security likely. Authenticity would be very difficult to track. Another extreme, you can take a piece of very important data that you have and put it on the hard disk, switch it off from the network, put it into a physical safe box, and bury somewhere, right? You would be very secure, but it's not very useful for you anymore. So thinking about cyber protection is thinking about how you balance all these 5 vectors in a way that will fit yours and your customers' needs. Acronis used to be one of the leading companies in data protection space. Yeah, see, in that direction. So as we believe that modern challenges in IT requires a different approach to staying protected in the digital world, we believe that it should be converged with cybersecurity solutions. And again, as a company, we're committed to make it happen. The way how we do this for service providers is through the platform that we developed already for 5 years, the Acronis Data Cloud. Are there any partners of Acronis in the audience, users of Acronis? Yeah, well, good. Thank you for your business with us. So Acronis offers multiple solutions that deliver these capabilities for consumers, for businesses, for OEMs. For service providers, the key offering that we have is Acronis Data Cloud. More than 5 years ago, we started to develop this platform with service providers in the center of what we do. And of course, we, like you, understand how important is effective operations, because you need to control your costs, you need to control your margins. Variety of services that we are enabling on the platform help you to earn more profits as you can sell those to your customers and expand your product portfolio. And of course, you can't forget about compliance. You need to be compliant to different government regulations that are in effect in your countries, in your territories. So Acronis Data Cloud is the platform that, first of all, enables service providers to deliver cyber protection in an easy, efficient, and secure way. With one SaaS solution, gain access to hybrid cloud backup, disaster recovery, AI-based ransomware protection, file sync and share solution, and blockchain-based file notarization and e-signature services. And all of that is managed from a single console, which makes it easier to support and easier to manage. You can operate it efficiently. It is a turnkey SaaS solution that scales. It can be deployed in flexible ways. But what's more important, again, as we were building that platform and continue to build that platform with service providers in the center of what we do, it's also all about profit and your ability to gain more margin selling those solutions with flexible pricing models, enabling different integrations, and of course, if you would like to keep your own brand versus Acronis brand in the platform, white labeling options are also available. Compliance side. Again, as I mentioned, basically any country, any government on this planet is imposing different regulations that are either restricting data flow outside of the country or requires quite strict data sovereignty rules when you need to make sure you store the data within the physical borders of the country. And sometimes this is challenging in the modern world. We have fully understand that, and we're building our strategy on delivering compliant data residency solution for you. So currently we're present in 16 data centers. It's Acronis Cloud, but also we're partnering with Microsoft Azure and Google cloud platform to make sure you have those destinations available from our platform. We're constantly looking at markets to expand that. As you can see, we're mostly covering well-developed markets. For those of you who are coming from emerging markets, we're constantly monitoring kind of the business there, and as soon as the business case justifies the placement of Acronis data center or a partnership agreement with one of the hyperscalers, we will do that. But we take this very, very seriously. So, in Acronis, we believe, and that's basically a quote from our CEO. In Acronis, we believe that all evils in this world are created by insufficient knowledge. We do special program which is called Acronis Foundation. You probably saw some materials around. We are fundraising money to build schools in underserved countries, in underserved areas where people live without what we used to call civilization. And we believe education is the essential and first step to make a difference there. So I know that CloudFest participants already fundraised quite a significant amount of money. We will know that by the end of the event. I would like to thank everybody who already donated to that program, and encourage you to read about that and also consider doing that. We as a company believe that doing good for education is important. But why we do think so? Because we have based our development on innovation. We believe that innovative technologies can make a difference even in more or less straightforward solutions like backup. Backup is relatively simple, one solution of many that we have. So of course, the base of our innovation is 15+ years of experience, years and years of development, and a lot of learning cycles that our engineering teams has had and continue to have. It's based on any data technology, software-defined infrastructure. Recently, we expanded that with hybrid cloud architecture. That means for those of you who would like to have a platform deployed on your premise and use the service that is provided from your controlled environment versus taking from Acronis Cloud, you will get exactly the same platform that Acronis runs in our cloud. We were one of the pioneers of blockchain enablement in our solution, Acronis Notary, which helps to track authenticity of data. And also modern cybersecurity is unthinkable without artificial intelligence solutions, because that's the only way how modern solutions can actually prevent and track threats and attacks on the infrastructures. This week, we are announcing another, together with our partner, Ershow, we're announcing another major milestone in development of Acronis, Acronis SDI Appliance. Basically, that's a secure infrastructure solution for edge workloads. You have a demo basically outside of this room. I encourage you to come to Ershow booth and check it out. This solution can be very, very beneficial both for service providers but also for end customers who look for solutions like that. So please feel free to come to us and join. And coming back to what's important for all of us, profits, again, as we think on how you, being a service provider, can earn more with help of Acronis, we are thinking about different scenarios. And the first and most obvious scenario is that you add on different cyber protection services that are currently available from Acronis Data Cloud and those services that will be available in the future, you can add on to your core products. You can make bundles, because in most of the cases, your core products are not necessarily the most profitable ones. And if we take Office 365 or G Suite, you can leverage a large install base or large sales volume of those services and bundle with cyber protection, data protection services that are very well received by customers, by consumers, and eventually lead to a much better margin structure on such bundles. And of course, thinking about this new concept of cyber protection, thinking about the needs of any organization and any individual to find this balance between safety, accessibility, privacy, authenticity, and security, you can create a relatively unique bundle for cyber protection that will stand out when you think about yourself as a service provider versus your competition. And there you can look at the services that currently are available on the platform, like Acronis Backup Cloud, Acronis Disaster Recovery, Acronis Files Cloud, Acronis Notary, and think about how you blend those in a particular offering that you can upsell to your customers and eventually get more margin. So I'm welcoming all of you to visit us at booth F04. We have a large group of Acronis people there, happy to do product demos, happy to discuss particular commercial terms, and make sure that we partner to joint success. I try to be short. I understand it's late, and I guess all of you will appreciate early finish here and getting back to the hotels for evening. So thank you for thinking about cyber protection as something new, and thank you for remembering the word SAPAS. I think you will hear more and more these two concepts, cyber protection and SAPAS, and I hope I explained what that means. So thank you.
Thank you, Pasha. Pasha, I have a question. Stay with me for a moment. You mentioned the platform for service providers. Tell me about how adoption for that platform varies in different geographies around the world. You're based in Singapore. Which are the early adopters, and what are the differences in the adoption criteria or barriers to adoption for the different regions that you see when you're traveling or meeting customers and partners?
Oh, okay. I think there are no fundamental differences. I mean, these services that are provided from the platform are relatively universal, right?
Okay.
Of course, our key markets are Europe, United States, Japan. In certain markets, we see lower adoption of cloud solutions, because today I've been talking about mostly cloud, not mostly, only cloud, but also Acronis is well known for on-premise or traditional software. Some markets are lagging behind in that sense. For cloud adoption, I would say Northern Europe is leading. US, very good. Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, pretty good market for us. We have one of the highest market shares there. So yeah.
So first in the world would be Northern Europe?
Well, for us,
yeah. Okay. And why would that be, do you think? What could be some of the reasons behind that?
Well, I believe we, with our cyber protection services, we are kind of coming next after core cloud services, like in cloud infrastructure, collaboration suites, and of course, if we think about different geographies, adoption of those services compared to traditional on-prem or private cloud solutions is higher in those markets. Just more acceptable for people to, let's say, trust data, trust information, trust their systems to cloud providers.
Okay, Makes sense to me. And if we talk now specifically about security and different geographical urgencies to secure themselves, do you see a difference at that level? Are some markets more sensitive to security because there's been high-level hacks or high-level outages and massive problems of reading in the press? Is that the case, or is it also fairly uniform?
I think it's a universal need of any organization, government, or individual to feel protected and secure. So we don't see a particular difference in the intention of people to do that. There are different ways to accomplish that, but that's true. And there are different preferences for that, but more or less that's a universal need for all of us, regardless of countries of residence.
Very good. So a universal opportunity for each and every one of us in the room. Fabulous. Please help me once again to thank Pasha Ershow and the Chief Revenue Officer at Acronis. Thank you, Pasha.
Thank you.